Washington State, in America's Pacific Northwest, is a land of extraordinary contrasts. It's a place sculpted not over gentle millennia, but by some of the most powerful forces our planet can unleash. Here, nature has worked with a raw and dramatic energy. It has pushed up mountains of fire, sent colossal walls of ice and water to scour the land, and nurtured forests of almost unimaginable greenness. This is not a gentle landscape, but a dynamic canvas where the story of Earth's power is written in stone, soil, and water. To understand this place is to witness a world in constant creation, where the echoes of a violent past still shape the vibrant present. Looking at a map does little to capture the sheer variety held within its borders. On one side, a coastline is battered by the relentless Pacific Ocean, feeding ancient rainforests that drip with moisture. On the other, a vast dry expanse of rolling hills and profound canyons tells a different story, one of sun and shadow. The state is quite literally split in two by a formidable range of volcanic mountains, a spine of rock and ice that dictates the climate, the life, and the very character of the regions it divides. It's this dramatic separation that creates the stage for Washington's breathtaking diversity. Every corner of this remarkable state holds a piece of a much larger puzzle. The moss-laden trees of the west and the sun-baked cliffs of the east may seem worlds apart, yet they are deeply connected. They share a common history, a geological narrative of immense pressure, explosive eruptions, and cataclysmic floods. The same forces that lifted the mountains to the sky also carved the canyons deep into the earth. Exploring Washington is like reading a great book of natural history, with each chapter revealing a new and astonishing tale of transformation and resilience. Here you can stand on a glacier in the morning and walk through a desert-like landscape by the afternoon. This is a testament to the sheer scale of the natural architecture at play. It's a place that invites wonder and demands respect. From the quiet, misty depths of its forests to the thunderous roar of its waterfalls and the silent, watchful peaks of its volcanoes, Washington is a living museum of Earth's power. It's a masterpiece, painted with fire, carved by ice, and brought to life by water. And its story is still being written. Western Washington is a world drenched in green. It's a place defined by water, which falls from the sky in near-constant mists and drizzles, feeding a landscape of astonishing life. The air here feels heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. This abundance of moisture gives rise to colossal forests, where Douglas fir and western red cedar trees soar towards the heavens, their trunks wider than a person's outstretched arms. The forest floor is a soft carpet of ferns, mosses, and fungi, a complex community thriving in the deep, perpetual shade cast by the towering canopy above. This green kingdom extends all the way to the Pacific Ocean, where the forest meets a wild and untamed coastline. The shores are not gentle sandy beaches but rugged collections of sea stacks, tide pools, and driftwood logs, bleached gray by the sun and salt. These massive logs, once giants of the forest, are tossed about by the powerful winter storms, creating a constantly shifting barrier between land and sea. Here, the rhythm of life is dictated by the tides, which reveal a hidden world of colorful anemones, scuttling crabs, and hardy starfish clinging to the rocks. Nestled within this lush environment are cities that seem to have grown directly from the forest itself. Places like Seattle and Tacoma are surrounded by this immense greenery, with views of water and mountains from nearly every street. The people who live here have a deep connection to the natural world that envelops them. They're accustomed to the rain and the gray skies, understanding it as the lifeblood of the emerald landscape they call home. The proximity of such wildness to urban life is a defining feature of the region. The entire ecosystem of the West is a delicate balance. The salmon that swim up the rivers to spawn connect the ocean to the forests, their bodies providing vital nutrients to the soil and the creatures that live there, including bears and eagles. The rain that feeds the trees eventually flows back to the sea, completing a cycle that has continued for thousands of years. It's a world of immense beauty and interconnectedness, a seamless tapestry woven from rain, trees, rock, and the relentless energy of the Pacific Ocean. Within this western realm lies a place of almost mythical status, Olympic National Park. It's so unique that it has been designated a World Heritage Site. This is not one park, but three distinct worlds contained within a single boundary. It holds glacier-capped mountains, a wild and rugged coastline, and magnificent temperate rainforests. To journey through it is to experience a cross-section of Washington's primeval character. Each ecosystem is pristine, protected, and offers a glimpse into what this corner of the world looked like long before human settlement. Its isolation has allowed these three environments to flourish in their purest forms. The heart of the park is dominated by the Olympic Mountains. These are not the volcanic peaks of the Cascades, but a separate, older range, jagged and formidable. Their high peaks capture so much moisture from the Pacific that they are adorned with over 60 active glaciers, rivers of ice, that continue to grind and shape the rock. This immense mountain barrier is the reason for the park's dramatic contrasts. It creates a powerful rain shadow, leaving the areas to its east significantly drier, while forcing unbelievable amounts of rain onto its western slopes, giving birth to the rainforests below. On those western slopes, we find the Hoh rainforest, one of the most extraordinary woodlands on Earth. This is a world saturated with life, where everything is draped in moss. Big leaf maples are covered in thick green club moss, hanging down like ancient tattered curtains. The air is still and quiet, muffled by the sheer density of the vegetation. It feels ancient, a place where time moves differently. Some of the trees here have stood for 1,000 years, silent witnesses to the changing world. It's one of the finest remaining examples of a temperate rainforest anywhere on the planet. Then, there's the park's coastal strip, a 73-mile-long stretch of protected wilderness. This is the Pacific coast at its most raw and powerful. There are no roads here, only a wild shoreline of rocky headlands and sandy beaches, littered with the skeletal forms of giant trees washed ashore. It's a place to feel the full force of the ocean, to watch storms roll in, and to explore tide pools teeming with resilient life. These three ecosystems, the alpine peaks, the mossy rainforest, and the wild coast, make Olympic National Park a sanctuary of unparalleled diversity, a true jewel of the natural world. To travel east from the wet green world of the coast is to undertake a journey of profound transformation. One must first cross the Cascade Mountains, a mighty barrier that dictates the fate of the weather, as clouds heavy with Pacific moisture are forced to rise over the peaks. They release their rain and snow, leaving little for the other side. Crossing the summit is like passing through a gateway into another country. The dense, damp forests thin out, the air becomes drier and warmer, and the landscape opens up dramatically. The change is not gradual, it is a sudden and startling shift in character. Eastern Washington is a land of immense space and brilliant light. The sky feels bigger here. Instead of towering forests, the landscape is defined by vast, rolling hills and deep, dramatic canyons carved into layers of volcanic basalt. This is a semi-arid world, painted in shades of gold, brown, and sage green. The geology is laid bare, with cliffs and rock formations telling a story of a far more violent and ancient past. The gentle, persistent rains of the West are replaced by hot, dry summers and cold, crisp winters, shaping a completely different collection of plants and animals. This is a landscape that was not shaped by the slow growth of forests, but by cataclysmic events. For millions of years, immense lava flows poured across the land, layer upon layer, creating a thick plateau of dark volcanic rock. This foundation of basalt would later be sculpted by another, even more powerful force. The result is a region of stark and breathtaking beauty, from the channeled scablands, a maze of dry canyons and basins, to the fertile, wind-swept hills of the Palouse. It is a testament to the power of geology on a grand scale. Life here has adapted to the dryness and the extremes of temperature. Instead of ferns and moss, one finds sagebrush and hardy grasses. Hawks and eagles soar on thermal updrafts, scanning the open ground for prey. The rivers that cross this landscape, like the mighty Columbia and the Snake, are vital arteries, bringing life to an otherwise parched land. They flow through deep canyons, their waters a brilliant blue against the dark rock. Eastern Washington is a land of sun and shadow, of vast horizons and hidden depths, a stark and beautiful counterpoint to the Emerald West. In the heart of this dry, eastern landscape, there is a place that tells the region's most dramatic story. It is Palouse Falls. Here, the Palouse River does something extraordinary. It doesn't flow down a gentle valley, it plunges nearly 200 feet over the edge of a cliff, into a deep, circular canyon of sheer basalt rock. The waterfall is a stunning spectacle in its own right, a powerful torrent of water in a surprisingly arid land. But its true significance lies not just in its beauty, but in the story it reveals about its own creation. It is a magnificent relic of a truly cataclysmic past. This waterfall was not carved slowly over millions of years by the gentle work of the river. It was born in a moment of unimaginable violence at the end of the last ice age. At that time, a massive glacier blocked a river in what is now Montana, creating glacial Lake Missoula, an enormous body of water holding more water than several of the Great Lakes combined. When this ice dam failed, it failed catastrophically. A towering wall of water, ice, and rock, hundreds of feet high, thundered across Washington at speeds approaching 65 miles per hour. This was not a single event. Over a period of about 2,000 years, the ice dam formed and broke dozens of times. Each time, the resulting flood was one of the largest ever to have occurred on Earth. These megafloods scoured the landscape, ripping away soil and carving deep channels, known as coulees, into the solid basalt rock. They completely rerouted entire river systems. The Palouse River once flowed into a different river, but the floods carved a new path for it, forcing it to plunge off this cliff to join the Snake River below. Palouse Falls is a direct result of that violent rerouting. Today, as you stand at the canyon rim, looking down at the falls, you can almost feel the power of those ancient floods. The sheer circular walls of the plunge pool and the vast dry canyon downstream are silent evidence of a force that is difficult to comprehend. The falls are more than just a scenic wonder. They are the official state waterfall of Washington for a reason. They serve as a powerful and accessible reminder of the Ice Age floods that fundamentally shaped the entire geography of eastern Washington, leaving behind a landscape unlike any other on the continent. Running down the center of Washington is the state's defining feature, the Cascade Mountain Range. This is not just a collection of peaks, it is an active volcanic arc, a link in the Pacific Ring of Fire. These mountains are giants, with several soaring over 10,000 feet, their white, glacier-clad summits visible from hundreds of miles away. Peaks like Mount Rainier, Mount Baker, and Glacier Peak are not silent stone, they are sleeping giants. Deep beneath them, immense geological forces are still at work. A reminder that this landscape is far from finished. The most famous of these volcanoes is, of course, Mount St. Helens. For decades it was a beautiful, symmetrical cone, a picture of peaceful dormancy. But in 1980, that peace was shattered. The mountain erupted in one of the most dramatic geological events of the 20th century. The blast was directed sideways, and it flattened 230 square miles of dense forest in an instant. A colossal plume of ash shot miles into the sky, turning day into night across eastern Washington. The eruption completely reshaped the mountain, leaving a gaping, horseshoe-shaped crater where its summit once stood. The area around Mount St. Helens is now a living laboratory. It shows us how life returns after such utter devastation. At first, the landscape was a gray, silent world of ash and mud, but slowly, life began to reappear. First came the small, hardy plants pushing their way through the ash. Insects and small animals followed. Today, more than 4 decades later, young forests are beginning to grow, and herds of elk roam the valleys. The recovery of Mount St. Helens is a powerful story of nature's resilience and its ability to heal even the most profound wounds. The Cascades as a whole are a world of ice and rock. They hold more glacial ice than all the other states in the contiguous United States combined. These glaciers, which flow slowly down the high valleys, are the source of the state's major rivers, providing water for cities, farms, and the salmon that are so vital to the region. From the explosive power of Mount St. Helens to the quiet, grinding force of the glaciers, the Cascade Range is the dynamic heart of Washington. It is the spine that connects the wet west to the dry east, the fiery furnace and the frozen reservoir that has shaped and continues to shape this land of wonders.